DeFi Slate team.
What's up, y'all? Real quick, if you like the DeFi Slate content on Twitter and YouTube and Substack, please give us a like and a subscribe on this video on YouTube. Join our channel, join the community. We'd really appreciate it. We're pumping this stuff out for y'all as much as we can, and we really enjoy the support and the community that we've built. Thank you very much and enjoy. What's going on, y'all? Welcome to episode 40 of the DeFi by Design podcast. Here today with Kris Kay, aka DeFi Donut. We're just a band of content creators here in DeFi. It's good to kind of get the DeFi content creators together. There's quite a few now, and I think it's just going to keep on growing. And surely there's competition, right? We're all trying to make our money, our offers, our sponsors, our this, our that. But I think there's way more room for collaboration currently than there is competition. I know Gabriel Haynes is trying to formulate some sort of creators DAO, and such like that. And so I'm excited to kind of hear more from Kris about his journey into crypto content creation, what he's seeing, things he's learned, and some insights into the current market structures and what's going on, in DeFi. Here today, of course, with co-host Robbie. What's going on, Rob? How we feeling?
Yep. It's another beautiful day in Florida. Just enjoying it out here. I'm super hyped to talk to DeFi Donut today. Like you said, that's been a motto at DeFi Slate going, way back since we started. It has been collaboration over competition. Ultimately, there's still so much more room to grow in the DeFi ecosystem. A lot of that comes down to still narrowing this learning curve. And I think that's really what these content creators, such as ourselves, are trying to bring to the masses is education, ultimately as the bridge to adoption. So yeah, I will pass it over to Kris and let him introduce himself.
Yeah, what's up, guys? Glad to be on. So basically, to speed this up, my first introduction to crypto was around in 2013. I was in my freshman college dorm room, and it was right before that that huge Silk Road thing kind of came up. And at the time, I think Bitcoin was anywhere between $13 to $30. And I was cool. I heard people were mining it and making money. So, as a broke 19-year-old, 18-year-old freshman, I was first thing that came to mind, I was cool, I'm gonna try to make some money. So I tried mining it on my laptop. I was mining it, but I wasn't really mining anything. So I kind of gave up. I was whatever, this is stupid. And then I don't know if it was later that same year or early the next one, but that Silk Road stuff popped off where it was cover of Time magazine, Ross Ulbricht, I think his name was got caught up. And then Bitcoin really caught my attention because it went to I think that's when it made its run to $900 or $1,000. And I was damn, okay. But yeah, then it kind of died down, and I didn't really think about it too much until 2016, 2017, right before that crazy bull mania. And that's when I first started getting financially involved. I survived that crazy bull run. I didn't really do anything crazy. I missed out on some money for selling early, but I'm not driven about it now. Learned a lot. And then of course, DeFi summer, which I know a lot of people know about in this space, is what really caught my interest, caught my eye. And yeah, when I started hearing about staking and, compound, basically I had BAT, basic attention token, was one of my holdings, right? And during DeFi summer, it skyrocketed, and I was what the hell's going on? So, I went online and I figured out there was some farm, liquidity farming that was going on compound, and the BAT token had the highest APY, I think. So it was getting bought and locked up. And I was okay, why are people doing this? So I found out how compound works. And yeah, and then from there on out, it was that's how it all started, basically.
That was one of my first intros to Argent app as well. I remember having that on must have been Binance or Coinbase or something, just sitting there.
Yeah.
transferred it over to Argent, dumped it in the compound for like 26% APY, and then it was gone
Yeah.
2 days later. That
Yeah.
was it, dude. Yeah, that was nuts. And then just because you did that, or if you did a bit of Uniswap transactions on Argent, is what I did. I had liquidity to like one pool. Then come like November, you just got $4,000 in the airdrop.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which is a lot more now, but
yeah. Did
that's
you
crazy.
sell
Yeah.
immediately?
What's up?
If you don't mind me asking, did you sell the airdrop, or like what was your thesis on that?
No, it wasn't immediate. But I still think it's crazy the fact that even happened. But now I feel like that spoiled people, and everybody is like expecting an airdrop from like everywhere. Like I know Zapper, everybody's like, when's the token? When's the token? When's the airdrop?
Yeah.
But Uniswap, I think Uniswap did it right. It's definitely like interesting.
It was a big one.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting seeing how future airdrops play out. I mean, plenty of people have been experienced and exposed to them at this point. I think another big one's coming up with Ethereum Cash, when the miners kind of oppose EIP 1559. This is still a bit speculative, kind of a theory, not really rooted in any on-chain, at least governance decisions at this point. But from some of the people, that we're talking to, it seems like the miners, right? They don't want to get cut out of the system when ETH 2.0 goes to proof of stake and completely transfers out of proof of work. All the miners are going to be just, without
stuck
jobs.
with hardware.
Yeah, and stuck with hardware. So it'll be interesting to see if they continue the chain and ultimately create something like ETH Cash, and what people do with it. Do they sell it right away? Do they think it has some relevance like Ethereum Classic?
Yeah, who knows, man. The market like recently is on a mostly irrational. So your guess is as good as mine. People are crazy, man. I really don't know, but yeah, I heard that too from, I think on Bankless, one of the two hosts said it, that could be a scenario, but I don't know. I'm not really waiting on it or anything. I don't know. I think miners are a little spoiled as well, especially after this recent run, but I think proof of stake is definitely the better option regardless.
Yeah. The miners got paid, dude.
Yeah. Big time.
Paid, and now they can sell their hardware if proof of stake happens. I saw on eBay all the mining equipment in this recent kind of downturn has been repriced like 10 or 20% cheaper than it was. Interesting. That's a whole industry that like people who are new to the space like don't see, but once you've like witnessed like 2017, like that's an investment just as good as crypto is. Buying a bunch of mining equipment for Bitcoin or Litecoin, down in the dumps when no one's paying attention, and then having the ability to sell it to a speculator, once the prices rise up.
Yeah, but that's the thing, man. Miners, all they do is mine it and sell it. So they're like complaining of getting like pay cuts or whatever, but like, oh, you were the one selling Ethereum at $800 and $900. You were dumping it. Like if you were to just see the way it's set up now, like miners don't have an incentive. Like they don't have skin in the game. But with proof of stake, if you have 32 ETH locked up per validator, then basically indirectly you want your stack to grow. So you believe in it. That I think that's the better option, hands down, because miners, all they do is literally just dump to pay for their monthly expenses for electricity and stuff. So yeah, I think that's got to go, and it's a great decision overall.
Yeah, I remember the price of Bitcoin combo when it was at like 6,000 and the halving was coming up. It was like, all right, like this either has to go up or miners are going to go underwater for a while and hash rate could drop. Yeah, I think the incentives for proof of stake definitely bring along more capabilities to like an economic network. But I think undoubtedly as well, if Bitcoin wasn't started as proof of work, and Ethereum too, really, then I think it'd be very, very tough for this all to have been created at this point. Just from like a security standpoint. For the presence of Bitcoin as hard money, right? Like,
yeah, there's definitely an argument that like proof of work is big for security, which, to be honest, I'm not like 100% fully educated on how that is like happening with Bitcoin and their proof of work model. But Yeah, I just think if I was a miner and this upgrade is happening, I would kind of be excited. Like I can sell all this like shitty equipment and just buy ETH, lock it up, and just watch it grow on my like gaming PC that costs like $1,000. I think it's just better. I don't know why anybody would be salty unless you like went crazy on hardware. You have like a warehouse, but even then, you just I don't know.
Yeah,
Couldn't tell
sell the
you what
hardware.
miners are thinking. Yeah.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see if people that are coming into the space now primarily focused on DeFi just lose interest in Bitcoin, and
Yeah.
I don't see a really strong reason for why Ethereum should be correlated to Bitcoin in price at this point, because they're attacking two completely different problems.
Yeah.
Bitcoin with hard money and Ethereum as that decentralized computer, just base layer for all of these application layers of digital finance. So if people lose interest in Bitcoin or don't have as much belief in the mining network, will that have adverse effects on crypto as a whole ecosystem?
Yeah, let's talk about it. That's actually like that's a topic that like I think about, like what would happen when Ethereum flips Bitcoin. Like I truly wonder, since like Bitcoin, that's like the branding, right? Number one, top dog always, never falling. I wonder like what would happen to the crypto narrative, or maybe if it's just the Bitcoin narrative that gets, affected. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Yeah. I've been thinking about this too, not just if Ethereum flipped, and I think that's a when, not an if. So,
Same. Yeah.
Right. So when Ethereum flips Bitcoin in market cap, if Bitcoin, drives all the way down and Ethereum takes over this store of value narrative, then, why still have Bitcoin? There's going to be something with what is perceived as a stronger network, and there's the incentives that are aligned. So I guess kind of questions that are wrapped up here, like if Bitcoin goes to zero because Ethereum flips it.
I don't think it'll go to zero, but
Right.
I definitely think there is a high possibility of Ethereum eclipsing it in market cap. I mean, it's already eclipsed it in functionality and use. We've seen that. Like nothing happens on the Bitcoin network. Like 1% of all Bitcoin is on Ethereum, not the other way around. Like if you have Bitcoin, you're either it's collecting dust in your wallet or you're wrapping it and putting it to work in DeFi. So like, okay, cool, store of value. Like Ethereum is probably just as good or getting there. So like
Bitcoin has really evolved from this store of value narrative to more of a store of energy narrative, because that's what proof of work is storing this energy into a currency, where Ethereum is store of value, but it's storing other value, like this economic value, this social value.
Yeah.
I just had a tweet that went crazy like just yesterday, where I think it was like PayPal settled $936 billion in 2020. Ethereum settled that same amount in 17 days, from May 1st to May 17th.
Wow.
And PayPal. I mean, I'm not just saying like Ethereum is equivalent to PayPal, because like ETH is the commodity and then PayPal is just a service. But end of the day, there's way more economic activity going on in Ethereum, like way more. And
to try to get that comparison, I think you got to sum up not just PayPal, but PayPal, Visa, Swift, all of that has to be summed up if you're going to try to compare it to Ethereum's total addressable market.
Maybe, yeah. And I'm not saying like growth potential. Obviously, the growth potential is huge for Ethereum, but I'm just saying like something that's worth more than Ethereum right now is being dwarfed by what Ethereum's actually doing and providing. And then like, I don't know, I'm seeing people like getting salty in the replies, like, yeah, but the Ethereum fees are high. Well, yeah, that's literally supply and demand. And that's actually working against your argument, because every transaction, even if I'm sending funds to myself, I have to pay a fee. So I'm willingly paying that fee because I want to use the network. So if PayPal had the fees that Ethereum has, it would not settle nearly as much value, yet Ethereum's doing it in exponential amounts. So
and
I think it was an interesting stat.
on the Bitcoin comparison as well. I mean, Bitcoin is like the digital gold narrative kind of thing. It's like it's kind of a backbone. If all other crypto networks fail, you kind of still have this backbone in your toolkit. You know, it's like you know, I would never advise anybody to go all in on one blockchain. You know, I would never say go only put all your funds on Ethereum, only put all your funds on Solana, only on Bitcoin. Like you're kind of setting yourself up for, you know, a very concentrated and risk. You know, so I think that's one big thing, and I think it's super crucial that the blockchains are separate. But I think that the Bitcoin having a DeFi purpose is far fetched. You know, I think it's I don't know. I think it's beautiful for what it does. It's like great. Like even if it's just sitting in a ledger that you never touch, that's locked away and hidden and buried, it's like that's exactly where the value is. And I think it's because it's super liquid. You know, it's like, yeah, I mean, I think generally speaking, we'll see sort of, a social capital shift and an intellectual capital shift towards blockchains that are promoting programmable money, and kind of the Bitcoiners will just kind of reign. But I think deep down, every Ethereum or every maximalist or chain, you know, every DeFi user has a bit of Bitcoin maximalism in them due to the nature of like how they were entered into the ecosystem and like kind of what they're relying on still.
Yeah. No, I mean, I love Bitcoin. You know, the story is amazing. The whole Satoshi, amazing story, crazy. Like the whole blockchain, everything. It's awesome. And a part of me hopes that it stays on top, number one. But at the same time, like, what do you do with your Bitcoin? You said like it's great. You lock it up, you forget about it, collects dust. But like, I can do that with, you know, plenty of other things. Like, okay, cool, like proof of work, but like I don't think any of us have used the Bitcoin blockchain in the last year.
Yeah,
like I know me, like there's nothing I can do, so like what's the value?
And I think large players see that too. You know, I think large players will be able to, like institutions will see DeFi, and I think they already do, as, you know, price to equity ratios, right? They see ETH and the fees and the burning and the such, and I think that would be a lot more attractive. Yeah, I mean, that's got to be like the next big thing for ETH, is becoming an institutional asset. Bitcoin's already institutionalized, which has been very helpful for the ecosystem as a whole.
Yeah. And somebody in my replies actually said something pretty funny. They said ETH's biggest problem is it has too much utility and I keep spending it. And makes you think like, like I don't know, man. ETH is becoming like, not even slowly, it's quickly becoming something very valuable and very different. It's an asset that we haven't seen, like the Bankless guys say, it's like a triple point asset,
right?
Where it's like commodity, capital asset, and soon to be, you know, store of value after this upgrade. So I don't know, but personally, yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say, all of us are using Ethereum now, basically without any permission. Any you know, anybody in the world can use it. You know, I think that's definitely one big thing for like the globality. I mean, it's tough to use Bitcoin right now because the wallets are just like not there. Coinbase, I mean, like there's a lot of functionality, but it's definitely easier to just hop on MetaMask and start to use, you know. But I'm kind of wondering if some regulations could cause issues for the DeFi community and Ethereum as a whole. You know, some of the best parts of using DeFi right now is basically being able to do it almost tracelessly. While everything's on chain and open, it's very much so private key and cryptography based. You know, I'm wondering what you think, Kris, about these impending regulations, if they are coming, KYC, you know, AML, and, you know, in addition to that, like how each nation state could govern or could regulate crypto, and, you know, kind of like the space race to figure out the best strategy.
So as far as regulation, and, you know, that's an argument a lot of people that don't know shit about like Ethereum or DeFi love to bring up, is that it's used for crime, right? But thing is, if I'm doing any type of criminal transaction, I'd want you to pay me in cash because it's not traceable. Ethereum or anything on the network, you can literally trace, oh, it went from Coinbase to this wallet, then back to Coinbase. Like, I think it's actually set up for regulation pretty well. Like me personally, I don't mind if it was regulated, right? Sure, it's easy actually. You could probably, I'm sure somebody out there is writing a software that can just crawl all your transactions and calculate, you know, your returns, your interest. And like, that's great. So I think like regulation can be fine if done properly. But yeah, I don't know. A lot of people are so, maybe I'm not part of that community that's like, you know, cypherpunks, and, you know, I don't want anybody watching my money, and I want to, you know, forever, like, you know, keep it secret in my finances. But like, I think the goal is permissionless finance, whether like, I don't care. I'll pay my taxes on what I earn. But as long as, you know, my earning potential is so much higher in the DeFi world, and the capital efficiency is just crazy, right? So I think even if it was regulated, like, okay, so it is hard because it's like a global network, and like how, yeah, there's definitely challenges, but I'm sure there was plenty of challenges to regulating the internet as well. But, you know, here we are on the internet right now. So yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure how regulation will play out, but I don't think it's anything to be afraid of, personally.
Yeah, an example of what you're talking about, how it's actually easier to get caught if you're using a blockchain. Whereas these guys that caused the oil shortage in the States, they hacked into like a pipeline and shut it down and demanded a ransom in Bitcoin. And they paid the ransom, but then a few weeks later ended up getting a lot of that ransom back and tracking down the people that, you know, committed the crime through a result of detecting their IP address through where they sent the Bitcoin. Not sure how they were able to do that, but, you know, through cryptography and tools that they have. So yeah, like you're saying, you'd want to get paid in cash. It's not, you know, the easiest or the most effective way to launder money, you know, commit crime. So why would you do it? I like, kind of similar to you, I'm not so concerned about regulation on that standpoint, but the potential of a central bank digital currency, you know, if it originates somewhere else, maybe doesn't happen in the States for a while, but I think that is, you know, something already being explored in China. And that, you know, we're seeing what China's doing to crypto. If that gets just, you know, copied in other countries, it'll be an interesting approach, whether the US takes that or not, and kind of the regulation that these nations have around crypto, if they choose to go that route.
Yeah. And honestly, I think China banning Bitcoin or crypto, whatever, I think that's a good move. Like, we don't care about China. Like, at this point, like I tweeted something a couple of days ago of like all the companies that China has banned, like the Microsoft, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, Google. Like, I think it's probably bullish if China's banning you, personally, because they don't like transparency, they don't like openness, they don't like innovation. They like something they can control, right? So, you know, I could care less. Obviously, the market, you know, short term, they're irrational. Any news, you know, like the Chinese president just sneezed, they're like, oh my God, let's dump it. Like, I could care less. I think it's whatever for China to ban. But yeah, I think nations or countries, individual countries aren't as, you know, dumb, for lack of a better word, to do something that extreme. But I guess we'll see.
And that's the thing about kind of the space race is, like, if you prohibit your country's talent to, you know, leave, basically, or you prohibit them from interacting with DeFi or crypto, and that forces them to leave, I mean, you're basically giving away your mind share to other countries, which is a net negative for any political leader in, you know, in one of these countries. You know, and it becomes super global. You know, and I think it's up to kind of people like us to educate as much as we can on the upsides and the beneficial aspects of DeFi and of crypto, to kind of make sure that we help these regulators and help these nations and help form communities that can, you know, add maybe a regulatory layer or such. I mean, we've spoken to Joseph from Shift Network, and they're basically trying to add a regulatory layer to a lot of DeFi protocols, kind of like a option for you to use KYC, or an option for you to, you know, fill in some sort of information. So things like that are super crucial, and us being able to educate people on that, you know, it is going to be important. You know, I'm curious, Kris, what you think is kind of needed in the DeFi content space and in the marketing space, right? There's a lot of educational newsletters. There's a lot of YouTube channels. There's a lot of things happening, but, what do we kind of need to break into that next level of awareness that that the stock market kind of has, or that Bitcoin kind of has, or that the equities market kind of has? Obviously those have been around for some time, but, aside from time, what do you think the content space in DeFi could really, need or improve on?
Yeah. Personally, I think it's, which I think you guys get it. It's the dumbed down explanations, right? I think everything's so intimidating, especially DeFi right now, right? Early stages. Everybody is like trying to explain it as they're learning it, right? So they learn what a smart contract is and they're trying to explain it to their uncle. Like, your uncle doesn't need to know what that is. Like, we need to abstract them, right? Just like when we drive, everybody drives a car, we don't know how an engine works, right? That's the thing. We need to teach them, like, this is the gas, this is the brake, this is the steering wheel, right? Like, this is like MetaMask, your bank account. Aave is an app. Ethereum's kind of like an app store. And just breaking it down, like, that's at least how I do it, right? When I make content or videos, I always make, like, keep in the back of my head, like, will my mom and dad understand this, right? People want that explain like I'm 5 definition, but I think the better one is explain like I'm 65. And that's what I kind of go for.
Yeah. That seems useful. I like that style. So something that kind of what I find makes the best content as well, just as kind of after this is episode 40, right? So after 40 episodes of the podcast, one of the biggest takeaways is when I learn as much myself, it seems that the people who are watching, are also learning the most effectively then. So yeah, that's kind of been my approach, is, kind of as we're talking to these people that are much smarter than us, just learning as much as possible from them. And then hopefully that information is going to just seep into the rest of the audience.
Yeah. I think we like content creators, we have to be a filter between the smart guys and the dumb guys. And I'm not, that's not meant to be offensive, but like, it's a new technology. Like, most of us are dumb. I personally didn't even know half this stuff a year and a half ago, like, at all. So it's okay to be a dumb guy in a new innovative space. But yeah, right now it's just a bunch of smart guys in the crypto world that don't know how to explain things, and content creators are the ones that will stand out, are the the filters in between that. And that's what I'm trying to be.
Yeah.
Personally.
What do you think about organizing all or most or some of content creators in DeFi into like this DAO structure? Like, do you think there's a conflict of interest? Do you think it could work? Do you think it could expand? Like, perhaps seeing like a super collaborative nature. What do you think about that?
Yeah. So I'm in that like group chat, whatever, with the creator DAO thing. I just, right now at least, I haven't really discussed in detail, but I just don't see how that would work out. Personally, like, everybody has their different style, different formats of how they do things. And, if a DApp comes along and wants, exposure, I just, like you said, it's not really competition, but at the same time, like, I want to do it my way. And then, like, how are we going to split that up? And I'm like, okay, this guy can take this part and I'm gonna take this part. I just don't think the creative process works like that. So I don't see, at least right now, how a DAO is really the answer for, organizing content creators. I don't know. I could be wrong. There could be like a better use case, but I'm trying to figure that out right now. So yeah, what do you guys think?
Yeah, I think the bankless DAO is a great experiment. They put forth a model that seems to have worked so far. They have a good community behind them, and they're all contributing. It's different. Something like this DAO of creators and content contributors and educators is different from the bankless DAO, because we're all doing the same thing. We're all putting these videos out,
Yeah.
about these different technologies. So we're all kind of, there is plenty of room for collaboration, but ultimately we're competing for the content, the viewers, the audience.
Yeah, like
Um,
if a DApp comes, right, and we're all in a DAO, and there's other like podcasters with like a similar style to yours, and like, okay, we want our founder to be on a podcast. Like, who gets them on their channel?
yeah, the potential way out of that is right, because in the Bankless DAO they have lots of different guilds, I think is what they're called, and they all contribute a different purpose. So each of those kind of represent like people doing different things, but they all have different media nodes set up in this Bankless DAO, and they have a great setup over there. I hope to see they have success. I think a way to be unique and a potential solution for kind of building these different nodes similar to that model is have some physical locations in this creator DAO. And I think that is one way that it could work. All of these content creators, for the most part, I say 90% are public, not anonymous contributors. So, if there could be some sort of public like workspace that is like a content creation studio, I think it could represent these nodes within this ecosystem that ultimately has an aligned set of participants.
Yeah, but I mean, it's starting to sound like it would be like a BuzzFeed. It becomes kind of like a company, right? And not individual creative creators.
Right.
So I think the beauty in it, especially for content creation, is that, everybody's kind of quote unquote competing, because then competition breeds better quality products for the end users. So if we're all just under the same umbrella, and, I just don't see how that worked. I want it to work. It sounded great. And, maybe it is, maybe I'm wrong. But personally, like, I just don't see, like, I want to make the content that I want to make, permissionlessly, right? That's the whole, like, DeFi is permissionless. But then in a DAO, you kind of have to, vote, and like, you don't get to make this, he gets to make this. So there's going to be some people that are going to be upset. I don't know how that'll work.
Yeah, and you get to like the liability and who you take on as clients or sponsors and that kind of stuff. I mean, we had a video with the Shared Stake team a month or so ago, and then now they've rug pulled. I mean, we've apologized publicly, talked to them in Discord and all that, but like that's that I'm curious, to you about is kind of how do you protect yourself from and your audience from from rug pulls and nefarious actors, non teams or not. What's your kind of framework there?
Well, I like to focus on like the established protocols, right? I don't go out of my way to, make, some yield farming guides for a protocol that just came out yesterday. Yeah. And it's got a great stable coin called Iron. And I don't know. I just, most of my guides for like beginners I stick to like Aave, pull together, compound, things like that I know probably not going to be rug pulls, right? I think for me that I haven't really thought about it, but basically I'm teaching things that I'm doing, right? So I'm not really a crazy, degen yield farmer which I did go into Iron, but whatever. But yeah, I teach what I'm doing. So, if we're in it together, basically. I'm not like maliciously trying to promote something that might, rug pull you. So that's how I go about it. If I'm doing it, I'm teaching it. So it is what it is.
Yeah, I think this transition from like the 2017 paid group kind of era into like the now DeFi content creators is so much better. I mean, just so much more quality, so much less like shills and just paid shills on Twitter and stuff. I mean, we avoid all of that stuff, any low cap stuff. There's just no need to get involved. And I mean, we all have gems that we're farming or that we're looking at now, but it's like, it's really a matter of what you're using and, the quality protocols, especially with sponsors too. I mean, the thing with sponsors is most of them are quality protocols because they've got the capital built, and
right.
to do marketing. And I really like that arrangement. The sponsorship arrangement is very beneficial for both parties, and it definitely creates like that collaborative nature. And then that's kind of like the business model of content creation, right? You got like the YouTube, all the monetization there, the sponsors, any sort of paid community offers or paid courses or anything like that. That's kind of like the main model. I think it's something that anybody can do. So who are you working with right now? Like, do you have a team of some editors or buddies that help you out? Kind of what's your structure like?
Yeah. So right now I'm doing literally everything myself. Editing, content, reaching out, grant applications, everything I'm doing myself, which will probably change soon just because kind of getting, it's becoming a lot. But yeah, for now, I'm just solo, always have been.
Awesome. Nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's kind of how we started as well, and just expanded out to some editors and some people to help post and just stuff like that. And now it's a bit more automated, and and we're looking to go and build into other things to bring awareness to DeFi from kind of like a consulting level with advisors and institutions and such. I mean,
right.
Like, you got to get money in to pump your bags, right? But like it's really about just like getting the awareness right, and being able to constantly onboard more users into DeFi.
Yeah. And as far as like sponsors and stuff go, I will only work with a protocol that I use and that like I actually like. Like I won't take offers from something like I've never heard about. And I think that's important too. Not just take every bag. I recently partnered with an exclusive sponsorship with Pool Together, which I think that what they're doing is awesome, man. The team, amazing. Product, amazing. I'm using it, obviously. And
if they had
I think that's important. Yeah.
Instead of the lottery, I mean the lower class wouldn't be in the lower class for all that much longer. I mean, fuck, even if they don't win anything, at least they're saving instead of just burning.
Yeah. Plus, it's an interesting money Lego as well that's being used by other protocols. I think there's huge potential. Period. In that
airdrop too that they had.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a cool part. For those of you who don't know, it's basically like a lottery-based kind of a savings account. So you put your money in, and it doesn't really grow necessarily. I think maybe it farms some pool tokens, maybe.
Yeah, you get pool tokens. At least for right now, still you're getting some pool tokens just for having your money in there. But it's basically a no-loss lottery or prize-linked savings account, however you want to call it.
Yeah.
And instead of buying tickets like you would at a lottery where you just literally exchange your dollar for tickets, your funds are pooled together with everybody else's funds, and Pool Together takes them, earns interest in DeFi. That interest becomes a prize money. So a couple lucky winners every week, and nobody really loses. So it's great. It's great.
Yeah, it's awesome. There's some sort of lockup there for like a week, I think, in that time frame. I remember my buddy was like, it was in the beginning of DeFi summer, and he was pretty levered up on Aave, and he took his borrow and dumped it into Pool Together, and then the market shat itself for like a week, and he was so close to liquidation with like no collateral left, and he was like, oh, fuck. I mean, that's obviously not like a common thing, but that was my intro to it, and then I started and that's how I got the airdrop. Yeah, solid.
So it's not really a lockup. It's just a withdrawal penalty, which I think is like 1%. Something like that.
Yeah.
So it's not too bad, but it's basically put in place to kind of prevent whales from gaming the system, right? Because the thing with Pool Together is like if you deposit a minute after the 1 week, like the prize is chosen for that week, you're still eligible to win. So they don't want like somebody coming in with 100 milli last minute winning, then pulling it out, going to farm it somewhere, right? Because people's money like earns the prize money, right? So they want to incentivize people not to do that, which I think is a great game theory kind of play there for them.
Definitely. Yeah, I think that concept is big. It was one of the first DeFi concepts that I heard of. Also token sets, which is kind of like slowed down. I haven't really heard a whole lot from them. I mean, they're still active in building, but that was also a really, really, cool project kind of in the beginning of the summer. I wonder how they're doing.
Yeah. Well, isn't Index Co-op like kind of building on top of them, or like I don't know exactly how it works, but like Index Co-op basically is doing pretty damn good with their with their kind of like ETF based like indexes of different niches in crypto. But yeah, token sets is interesting. Index co-op is I don't own any index tokens or anything yet, but I'm definitely gonna dive into that because I think that's a really important money Lego as well.
Sweet. Yeah, I mean, we're kind of wrapping up here on time. I mean, I guess I asked one on the last podcast. I think it's super relevant still for those still listening, kind of new to crypto or wanting to get active in content creation or participation in the space, whether it's governance or working for a protocol. Where and what are like the highest ROI things that somebody can do to get started in crypto? Investment wise, time wise, participation wise. What do you think a newcomer could do, to get the most on their time?
Yeah, investment wise, I remember I think Robert Leshner, the founder of Compound, tweeted this, and he's basically saying like pick 2 tokens, projects, whatever, and get some skin in the game, right? Invest a little bit and then spend a lot of time learning about them. And, if you like what you learn, keep doing that, right? Like keep investing and then just kind of spread out to 2 more every like 3 months or whatever it is. I think most people, man, don't even use or learn what they're buying right now, which, I get it. Everybody's trying to make money, but the way I think you really make money in the long run is if you actually use the protocols and actually learn about it. So yeah, that's definitely my advice. Everybody's going for the short-term gains, but we all know this is a long-term game. So yeah, that would be my advice. That's why I tell everybody not, most people don't want to listen. They're just like, okay, should I buy Dogecoin or no? That's what the answer usually is. But yeah, definitely learn and use what you invest in. For sure.
Yeah, I agree for sure. Sweet, man. Well, this has been awesome. Rob, any closing thoughts from you there, buddy?
Yeah, I agree, Kris. Kind of getting some skin in the game and then spreading out. That's what's been super cool about kind of being along for the ride for a few years now is, we were able to get started and our, first 2 that we learned about were Bitcoin and Ethereum. And then, clearly the ecosystem just has branched off from there and learning along with it. I really like your setup as far as a journal, like kind of your diary through DeFi and crypto.
Appreciate that. Yeah.
It really just kind of documents the process. And, as you learn, people can just have a window into, your life and kind of the experiences that helped you get to the point that you are at. So yeah, just, keep doing you. Good stuff. And I'm hoping there's some sort of solution here where we can all work together. I don't know what it is, but just kind of feeling, our way through the darkness. Ultimately, I think there's plenty of value still to be added to the ecosystem. And if we can align the interests and the incentives in a way that would work, that would be great. So thanks for coming on, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Thanks for having me on, and keep doing what you do, man. Like I said, I think back in February, when I was like deep in the rabbit hole, still am. I was listening to you guys' podcast when you had Mark Zeller, the Aave engineer. So that was my first introduction to you guys. And yeah, I was surprised. I kind of, I hadn't been watching since. So when you guys like messaged me, I was like, oh man, I remember these guys. And yeah, keep doing what you're doing because people are watching. And yeah, thanks for having me on.
Yes, sir.